Rise and shine. What is up, Strum Dynasty, Strum Vans, Strum Nation, whatever you want to call it. We're back in business. Want to give out some more words of wisdom. Yesterday's talk was about not giving up on your dreams. Today's talk is about self-reflection. It's about who you are as a person. It's about not being perfect. Yes, I'm playing Jeremy Souls in the background. I gotta have some Skyrim music, I'm just saying. Sorry, I like the Skyrim atmosphere music. It helps me calm my brain. But anyway, today's about really self-reflection. It's about viewing yourself and being happy with who you are. I think that deep down, we spend too much time worrying about pleasing other people, worrying about, doing all this stuff for other people. And let me tell you guys something, I give a lot. I've given a lot in my life. I've given to people who have backstabbed me. I've given to people who have said that they'd care for me. I've been and left me on the side. I've given to people who, didn't really deserve it because of how good my heart is. So, and, even though, I've made mistakes, I still have a good heart. That always seems to be the thing that takes over my life at the end of the day is my heart, because I've always been grown up and raised to treat other people with kindness, and I don't really see the reason to be mean to other people unless you're in my bubble and you're in my space and you're being a jackwad to me. I don't, if it's a big problem, it's affecting me personally, I don't see the reason to at least stand up, but there comes a time where you have to put yourself first before other people, and I hate doing that. Me personally, I hate it because, for me personally, it makes me feel like I'm being selfish and I'm being egotistical, and I'm pushing away a lot of people and just kind of, I don't know, for me personally, I think and feel it's kind of a narcissistic thing to do, to put yourself before other people sometimes. But there's also, there's a point where you have to realize that not everybody deserves your love. Not everybody deserves, not everybody has to have that. There be days where your energy is so depleted and you mentally probably don't feel like talking to anybody. I know I get those days too. And you need to feed your mind with things that are healthy, and you need to feed your heart and your soul with things that are healthy. You need to be in a space where you can feel completely content with yourself to the point where you can be happy around other people. And that's kind of what I want to say is, don't be so frustrated with yourself that you give, and then you get to a point where you can't give anymore because you're different. Your mind and your body and the way you feel and think, it's all over the place. And then you start to see that when you want to give, you can't give because you're too emotionally damaged, you're too mentally damaged, you're too much of a lot of things. And that's the problem with our world, is I feel like we overthink a lot. Like we overthink 20 times more than we should be actually genuinely overthinking. We make all these labels and we say all these things towards each other, and we do all these things. But it doesn't mean anything at the end of the day. Everybody's just going about their day. You know? You don't need to give 100% all the time. I personally give and give and give and give, and then I'll take time for myself and just kind of sit back and when I feel like being kind and doing more giving and doing more, love and giving more people my time, I'll do it. But growing up, I was always the one hurt, And the problem is when people start giving too much, they start realizing how many more people have fucked them over and have taken advantage of them and have used them to a point where they change into a completely different person. They start resorting to drugs, they start resorting to alcohol, they start resorting to, they start changing up their behavior, they start changing up their mentality, they start becoming more narcissistic and becoming more egotistical and becoming more self-centered and becoming in their own world. And there's a difference between being too self-giving and egotistical, and there's a difference between giving and being. There's a huge thin line between, and you need balance. You need balance between. You need a yin and you need a yang, but you need balance between your ego and yourself and what you give to others and what you give to yourself. That's the hard part about growing up, is whatever you went through growing up, whatever you feel, whatever you thought, whatever you think, and it's gonna end up becoming who you are in the future, or even in the near future. That's why I try to tell everybody to be themselves, to love themselves, but to love themselves in a way to where they don't completely change. Because you don't want to change into an asshole who just gives a fuck about nobody but themselves. You don't want to be a narcissist and then you're out in public and you don't even open doors for people. You don't open doors. You don't show kindness to other people. You're just a jackass. You don't want to be that person. I've hanged around people like that, and people who are selfish and self-centered, and I just can't stand them. I personally can't stand people like that, because I feel like it just shows that we let the world hurt us way too much. We let people hurt us way too much. We let the things that people say hurt us way too much. We let situations and circumstances hurt us way too much. And it shows that as humans, we're not strong enough to take the love that we have in our hearts and give, but at the same time take the love and give to ourselves in a way to where there's balance and there's not hypocrisy and there's not criticism and there's not opinionated crap. We spend all this time, having all this, I don't know how to explain it. It's like, so yeah, basically, I know what it's like to have other people take advantage of you, to use you, to talk behind your back, to be snakes. I know that. Because growing up, I was always talking to every single person I could ever talk to. I was Mr. Socializer over here. I mean, I'm still Mr. Socializer, but I have more respect for myself, but I don't do it to a point where I'm just assholes. I'm an asshole, and I'm a jerk, and I'm in my mind, I'm treating other people how they don't want to be treated. There's a difference between being, loving towards yourself and being hateful. Like, I understand what it's like to be fucked over because I've been messed up. People have done things to me and said things to me and basically took advantage of my time And I know, and it does hurt a lot. It hurts when everybody around you are fake and snakes and do all these things and say all these things, but they don't really take the time to get to know you as a person. They just assume every 24/7. They assume things about you because that's all they know how to do. They don't have forgiveness in their hearts. They don't have love in their hearts. Um they don't have anything to where they don't have any empathy per se. They don't have empathy for other people. I say that's 65% of the world. There's not a lot of people with empathy. There's not a lot of people with love. There's not a lot of people with kindness in their hearts. I think there's a lot of lacking in our world. And I've been growing up, man. I've had many friends. I had people who said they would always be there for me, and they didn't. They didn't care. I had a couple girlfriends. Uh, a lot of those girls said they loved me to death. Said said that they cared for me. Said that they'd always be there for me. We talked about futures. That didn't work out. Uh, I've had people in my life who would say all these things like, "Hey, we're gonna make it big someday. We're gonna be and then they never say anything. They just kind of leave me. I know what it's like to be, to have people in your life who screw you over, who do all these things. I even had one guy from Reddit actually enter my house at one point. This was back in high school though. I didn't know he was a Reddit user at the time, but he actually spied on me because I had a lot of followers, and I invited him into my own home, and I, was kind, to him, and they just left early. They're like, "Oh, we gotta go. We're sorry," because people are just rude. People are just mean. People are like that all the time. And there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be like that because that's how they're raised. They don't know what it's like. They don't know what it's like to feel and think and to have empathy for other people. They were probably raised differently than everybody else. Or maybe that's just who they are. But you can't change other people, and you can't change the way things are going. Sometimes you have to take a step back and observe, and you have to be around the right people. There's always good people on this planet. I've met many good people who do many good things, who have great attitude to show in to work every day, I've met people who give and loving are willing to receive, but you can't. The lesson here is you can't let your feelings and your emotions get the best of you when it comes to self-love. But anyway, I'm going to end this words of wisdom talk. Just know that you don't have to change completely, and you don't have to be selfish. You just have to understand that not everything goes a certain way, and you just have to be strong inside. This world has hurt me more than I can ever imagine. This world has hurt me so much. I don't even know. Some days I don't even know how I'm surviving, but I am, because I've always stayed true to myself. And when you stay true to yourself and you're really yourself, you're really who you are, and you take the time to love yourself, and you take the time to be yourself, and you get to know yourself, and you spread love. And at the same time, you give yourself some time, but you don't change. I promise you, you live a better life. And your pain that's inside you from other people, that will subside, because you know who to talk to and who not to talk to. So don't be hard on yourself because of people in your past. You have to move on from your past. You have to be better. Anyways, this is Mr. Strum, signing out. Have a good day, guys.